You came to my attention on social media and you started giving a little bit of intel on some of the stuff going down in South America, Venezuela, Maduro, things like that. And I was like, man, this guy has some information. I'd love to have him on the show. The perspective of the counterterrorism, especially when you've seen what happens in Israel and Hamas there, also going down to South America, watching that. But for most of all, I'd love to hear what you think the American people need to know. Not only American people, we have viewers from everywhere, but what do people need to know about some of the stuff going down in South America that we should be aware of? I don't think people are very knowledgeable on that subject right now and are just seeing what the news is telling us.
I wasn't too focused on South America. My main thing is jihadi networks in the Middle East and North Africa. I've been focusing a lot on Hezbollah as well. Now, once Donald Trump and the administration designated them as a foreign terrorist organization, I was like, okay, let me put that under my umbrella and look into it. I've already known that Hezbollah has significant influence in Venezuela and South America in general. I was able to kind of, look at different family clans that are in the Venezuelan government right now that are also Hezbollah operatives. Right now, I'm just like mapping out their network and putting the pieces together, looking at their financial pipelines along with their political alignments. And I mean, the evidence is pretty overwhelming. There's evidence of them doing training operations on Margarita Island, which is just like right off the coastline of Venezuela. And PVSA, the oil company, the state-aligned oil company to Venezuela, is their main funding source. I also want to note that oil company that's their main funding source right now is falling apart. So their workers are fleeing. The sanctions are dismantling them. They're not able to modernize their equipment and industry. Right now it's looking pretty bad, but you also have to remember that Hezbollah is doing their drug trafficking in the tri-border area and throughout, with the Venezuelan cartel de los soles. My main focus on this was, okay, if I'm going to bring it under my umbrella, I have to make it fit the definition of terrorism. A terrorist is defined as a non-state actor that is, inflicts violence and intimidation among the civilian population in order to meet their political, religious, or ideological goals. I couldn't find that with Cartel de los Soles. I found that more with Sinaloa cartel, but not so much with Cartel de los Soles. But I did find, like I said, Maduro's alignment with Hezbollah, which by definition, if you were funding or providing material support to a terrorist organization, that would put you under the same category as a terrorist. Hezbollah is an Iranian proxy, and Iran's main goal is to, uphold their government and stay in power. And they use Hezbollah as a force in South America. So, for example, they did a bombing on a Jewish organization in 1992 in Argentina, and they continue to do that. So they use Hezbollah as a kind of like a revenge tactic. And also, with all these sanctions going on with Iran, they use Hezbollah also as a drug trafficking organization. So they're able to get their funding and kind of slide under the whole sanctions thing. And so they could build up their military at the same time.
How big is Hezbollah in South America, would you assume? Or what have you been able to kind of identify?
Hezbollah has a significant footprint in South America. They're originally based out of Lebanon in the 1980s. Yeah. That's when they were formed. But they're all over the globe. It's not just South America. But for South America, I mean, I don't know exactly their exact number. It's kind of off and on. I don't think there's even like a set number of Hezbollah operatives. A lot of the times, so what the Venezuelan government will do as well is they'll also give them new identities and passports and documentation so they could kind of fly under the radar a lot of the times.
Why would this be a concern for America at all?
This is the thing that I was trying to put out there so people could kind of understand. The message that the United States government is putting out there is that we are countering narco traffic organizations like Cartel de los Soles and whoever, right? And that is true. We are doing that. But there's a much bigger picture behind the curtain of what's going on geopolitically. It's not just drug trafficking. It's not just, Hezbollah, which is a big part of it. What it is we have adversaries in our Western hemisphere. We have Chinese, Russian, and Iranian influence just south of our border, which is a big deal. The main thing is this, right? If we could counter Hezbollah's or Iran's presence in Venezuela, that would help us significantly with the drug trafficking that's coming into the United States, the human trafficking going on as well, and
Yep.
thwarting terrorism. Because the reason why they're there, they're also, and I don't want to get just stuck on Hezbollah as well, because like China has also signal intelligence hubs in Cuba and Venezuela as well. They have 30 plus ports in Latin America that they own. Um, Russia as well has huge influence. And so it's them working together. I mean, we sanction Iran and Russia all the time. And so they're using, Hezbollah and IRGC in South America to get their funding. But I think Russia less, obviously, but Iran more.
So you think what's happening right now with America and Venezuela is a good thing in the sense of, the Trump administration really posturing and positioning themselves to kind of hopefully slowly kind of control and dismantle that?
Yeah. So I don't think the Trump administration is going to come out and say the bigger geopolitical picture, because I don't think Americans could actually, digest that type of information, because they're going to be like, World War, or what the hell, like, global powers kind of going at it. So when we say
Yeah.
stuff like, or when the U.S. government says stuff like we're countering narco traffickers in the Caribbean, Americans could understand that, because I mean, I've had friends that have died from fentanyl. A lot of Americans know, at least everybody I know knows somebody who has died from fentanyl. And
Yeah.
so that is a real issue in the United States, and people know that. People know that. It's not some like conspiracy theory. Everyone knows that for a fact. And so that will sit better with the American people for them to understand. And we are doing that. That is the thing. But like I said, there's a lot more going on behind the curtain with Iranian influence in our in our Western Hemisphere, southern border. And it's just going to keep getting worse.
Iran is one of the states that's helping fund Venezuela as they
Yep.
continue to smuggle drugs and as well as kind of run a corrupt state. Venezuela, excuse me if I miss it, but Venezuela essentially is smuggling a lot of drugs to help fund it all.
Yeah, so Venezuela is, like I said, Iran's forward operating base at this point. They're under the radar of the sanctions. So whenever we put on sanctions on Iran, Hezbollah's operations go up. And Venezuela is right there with them, helping, sponsor them, fund them, using their PDVSA oil company. Yeah, no, it's a real issue. And it's a real issue. And they're pumping drugs into the United States.
I don't see that there's a place where someone could come into our country and really attack us, like from our shores or whatnot. I think we have a lot of defenses in place that would protect us. The only thing I see is what I've been noticing is someone comes into the country undocumented and is carrying some kind of explosive. That's the thought that we all have when working on the border, right? Or small little outliers that do these little kind of, active shooter scenarios. Those are the small threats that I see happening that are probable, that could happen any day and have been happening. We haven't seen anyone set off some kind of bomb in a quite some time. It's been a lot of, using a vehicle running over people. It's been using, just small arms fire, whatnot. What are the threats that you see that I'm not thinking of that you believe that could be coming to America?
Muslim Brotherhood's a big one.
Tell me.